Hi, it's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and got a bit of a global first. Well, I got a little second actually, because I ran something similar-ish last year, although it was a live stream as opposed to video webinar training. But what I have decided to do is run a global online training, because I mean, if I had £20 or $20 for every person who said, "Oh, I'd love to come to your event, I live abroad," or it's not easy for me to get into London, I probably wouldn't have to work again. And by the same token, I have so many people who take part in teleseminars and webinars and are absolutely blown away by the fact that the changes and the transformations happen right then and there in the moment. And also had the experience of people, for example, watching my photo reading DVD, which is a video training, and actually saying they felt as though they were there in the room and experienced the same emotions as one of the very first people to do the photo reading training was a lawyer. And she was one who said, first she said, I felt like I was a fly on the wall. She said, I even cried when you did the HUNA clearing piece. So that's how profound it can be, even when somebody is watching from the comfort of their own home. So what I'm going to be offering this time round is one of the trainings that I ran a couple of years ago, is the Practitioner Insider Secrets training. And the reason I ran this one is I just got a bit fed up of seeing incredible, amazing practitioners, so coaches, trainers, therapists, holistic healers, who weren't actually doing anything with their skills. They weren't running events, they weren't running workshops, they weren't running teleseminars. And when you got down to it, because some of them were my clients, what it turned out was number one, some of them were fearful of technology, just didn't understand how to do it. Also didn't get the format. How do you plan it? How do you put it together? And so hearing this, I mean, I've been hearing it for over 10 years, but eventually just thought, you know what, because in a one-to-one basis, clients would say to me, how do you do this? What do you use for that? I see you do X, Y, Z. How do you do that? What's the software? So I was always sharing that information, but then decided a few years ago, why don't I just put it into a training and have practitioners come along and hear all of that. So that's what I did. And so what I'm going to do with this very first workshop, we're going to go with the what I call the Practitioner Insider Secrets. And what we're covering on that one is that how do you go from what I call blank sheet of paper to a completed event. And the one that I think there's been three instances that stick in my mind, but one of the ones is when I created the Magic and Gratitude program, where I started the creation for that at 3:30 in the morning. And by lunchtime, the event was done. From zero idea to having a thought to lunchtime, the event was done. It was on Eventbrite, and I had the first set of delegates booked in. And so I will kind of take you through the process. And that was for an e-coaching training, where every day for 28 days, people received an email with a magic and gratitude practice. And that was the first time I'd ever offered training in that format. It was also supported by teleseminar. So people were dialing in by phone in those days, and also had a Facebook group. And again, that's the first time I'd had like a private Facebook group. And within 7 days of people starting that training and just going through the emails and starting to filter into the group, people's lives were changing. And it was the most profound thing. Now, I expected it to be good, of course. I designed it. However, it blew my mind in terms of what actually happened. And there was an instance where someone had signed up, and then a few days later, given the news she's got to go into hospital, it's an emergency, she's got cancer. And so she was very apologetic, said, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to make the first teleseminar. I'm like, I think you've got other things to think about. And then she said, could you ask the group? And then we'd never met. We did, to this day, none of us know what she looks like, because she was not on Facebook. She only joined Facebook to be part of the group. And so to this day, there's just a blank avatar. So we don't even know what she looks like. But she said, could you perhaps explain to the group and also ask if they could send me some energy and some healing? I'm like, no problem. So we do this in the group, and people are in their respective locations around the world. She goes in for the treatment, having been given the prognosis, told what to expect. And lo and behold, she goes in, everything goes like super smooth. She makes this really fast recovery. She's much more, agile than any of the specialists expected her to be. And she sent me the most gorgeous message back saying, you know, can you please thank the group, because I could almost feel the energy coming from this group of people that I don't know. And she said, I'm pretty sure that's assisted me in my first inkling that the power and collective of a group can and does translate online, does translate, not even online, but just the intention of it. So that's kind of where the journey started for me. So what I'm going to be doing with this one is is really doing something that people are always kind of, I guess, asking about, and the reason I kind of called it this global training in the palm of your hand is because I did a road test of it a couple of days ago. So I ran, some of you joined me for the Money Breakthrough video webinar on Tuesday. And we had someone take part on her mobile phone while walking across a field. And she sent me the screenshot. Some of you might have seen it on my Facebook page. And I'm like, man, this is so cool. She's in the middle of a field, like, you know, green grass. She's on her way. She lives on a narrowboat. She's on her way back to the narrowboat. She's in the middle of a field on a mobile phone, participating in a video training where she's typing while she's walking. So we're getting a full rundown of everything that's going on. I'm like, man, this is actually kind of cool. And so one of the reasons I was testing out is going, is this going to work? And for those of you who were there on Tuesday, oh my God, it was just brilliant. It was like an online party. The energy, the vibe, the communication. So it was absolutely fantastic. And so I just wanted to test out. Number one, is the platform robust enough for what I actually want it to do? Oh, interesting, sorry. Is the platform actually robust enough for what I wanted to do? Yes, it is. And I was also able, those of you who were there will know, I was able to put handouts into the group so they could download PDFs of stuff that I was talking about. They were able to, you know, I ran PowerPoint slides just like I would in a training. Actually, I've got a screenshot here. Let me just show you this, and I can show you it in real time as well in a few minutes. But this is my view. This is what I see as the trainer. However, it's similar to what you guys saw, because you could see a video of me in the corner, and then you could see the current, you don't see all the line of the slides at the bottom, that's just what I can see, but you can see, you know, each PowerPoint slide as it comes up. It's really nice and clear, good quality video, good quality for the PowerPoint slides. And then the bit that I blocked out, because of course there are people's names there at this point, is, you know, there's an online chat, so you guys can be doing an online chat. There's also a facility, if you wanted to raise your hand, and I can bring you in on audio, so we can hear your voice. I can bring you in on video, so we can actually see you as well. And so, you know, that really then makes for pretty much what we're doing on a training. You'll be able to see me. You'll be able to see the PowerPoint. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to participate on camera if you really wanted to as well. And so I think it just next levels things. It just takes things to a whole other level. And I'm always talking about neuro success, you know, how the mind and the body interact, and looking at principles of neuroscience and looking at principles of personal development, seeing how you blend those to then come up with, you know, sometimes it's a new take on an old idea, sometimes it's a fusion of other things. And today, the more I kind of think about this one, it's like, yeah, this will totally work, because we did it already on Tuesday. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be running it for the Practitioner Insider Secrets workshop. I've chosen a date, and what I'm going to do is run this one in 2 parts. And once I see how it goes and how people's energy level is, well, you guys already know, we could do often I'm doing, 90-minute, 2 hours teleseminars, and people are still going. But what I am going to do with this one, I'm going to run it as part 1 is going to be on the 1st of next month. However, of course, if you can't make it, you just watch the recording. And the reason I'm going to do it in 2 parts on different days is so that those who take part, we can then get together as a collective. I can then see, okay, where in the world geographically are people placed, and choose a time zone time that we're never going to suit everyone. When I ran the Higher Self, Huna Higher Self teleseminar and webinar a couple of weeks ago, we had people from Australia, America, Europe, the UK. Australia's a tricky one, because they're like, the time zone is so different. We had someone from India as well. And so trying to just marry all that up is going to be, oh my God, we're not going to please everyone. However, I don't know what the geographic spread will be. America is a lot easier to work with. Hey, Australians, don't let that put you off though. And I put it out to the group and say, okay, these are the time zones that we're dealing with. These are the times that we can do. You guys will know that there are times I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning. So, you know, that could also happen. But so part 2, we're going to choose a different day and try and do something more time zone friendly. So for this one, I'm going to run it from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. UK time, as it is at the moment. We're currently in BST, British Summer Time. So that, you know, that gives people definitely in the United States and across Europe a chance to kind of be up and about. It's not going to be like middle of the night for you guys. And if you wanted to join us, the link is www. What have I called it? insidersecretsonline.eventbrite.com. And that's in the description of this video. What I have also done is put in a link where you can watch the video webinar that I ran a couple of days ago, just so you get a flavour of how does it all work and what you can actually, I could probably show you. Let me see if I can do this in real time. Right, so I'm going to screen share with you. Let me see, where's my screen share? We'll go a bit crazy first. I think you see this cascading. So I'm going to screen share with you. So what all you do is you take the link. Let's just say you registered. You booked, you registered, you weren't able to make it. You take the link, put it into your search engine bar. Come on, work for me now. We're doing a live demo. You put it into your search engine bar. And then what it will do, it will kind of bring up the video webinar. Once you've registered, it always just remembers that you've taken part, and it will bring you then to the replay page. You're all familiar with YouTube and Facebook live videos. So you just click on the play, and then what it will do, it will render. We use big marker, and if you haven't registered to watch the recording, cool, because of course it's mine. Is you just put your name and your email address. Let's do Marilyn Devonish. Actually, let me call my something Marilyn D, just so I can make a distinction and delete myself out later. So you register, and then kind of what it will do, it will then, I've been invited in, and then you just press play, and you're good to go. And then you just kind of, you know, you'll watch. So this is, let me turn up the sound just so you can hear for a moment. So this was the one I ran the other day. Hold on. Click on me. Right, so hello and welcome to the Money Breakthrough Intro webinar. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Marilyn Devonish from TranceFormation.com, and I will be your host for this evening. Now, a couple of things that are going to be happening tonight, because I'm trying out this new webinar platform. So I signed up for it about 12 hours ago to be exact. So this is the first time I'm using it, first time I've really ever seen the back end properly. And let me so I'm just going to jump ahead and give it a chance to catch up. But that's basically kind of what's going to happen. You will, you know, you'll log on. Whenever I'm having a play and experimenting, they're always very keen to come and join me and have a play with me. That's amazing. But over and above just paying for my option to, why did you sign up for this webinar? And then that's it really. So that's basically the way the way it runs. So you log on. If you've not registered already, it will ask you for your details. You put your name in, you put your email address in, it will then let you in, and you just watch the whole training just as I've shown it to you there. So all very straightforward. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries about, you know, how it works, etc., let me know. What I would say is, we know it, you know, no, that's not even true, because I was going to say, you know, obviously have a stable connection, but walking through the field on your mobile phone isn't necessarily a stable connection. So we already know that it works. But yeah, that's it really. So first one is going to be Practitioner Insider Secrets. In terms of a little bit about, in terms of what we're going to be doing, going to be looking at the kind of, actually, let me tell you what we're going to be doing properly. Let me go to my own event page. So kind of what we're going to be doing is kind of looking at the creation process. What I really do call it from blank sheet of paper to finished event, because that's basically how I start all my trainings anyway. I've always got my trusted pen with me, and and a blank sheet of paper. I normally start with a particular process. I use the same sheet of paper, do one thing on one side, something on the other side, which you can knock it out in 5 or 10 minutes to get that process going. So we're going to look at the workshop event creation and design process. We're going to look at the idea and content generation. So how do you actually come up with and hone your ideas? We're going to do a think tank session where you share and test your ideas with other people on the webinar at the workshop. We're also going to do kind of the workshop outline. I'm going to tell you how I structure and put my workshops together. There's a particular process that I use and a particular order and sequence, which you probably might not have noticed as a delegate. But when I break it down, people are like, oh yeah, oh cool, that's why it works. So we'll look at that. I'm also going to, and this is one that comes up a lot, I'm also going to show you and share with you my event platforms and apps, because people are often asking, how do you do XYZ? Like when I first started recording audios and recording client sessions even, and doing the meditation sort of MP3s, which I used to do on a bespoke basis for some of my clients, people were just foxed by how do you even do that? So I'll share with you the kind of software and platforms and apps that I use to make my life a lot easier. Also a big part of it, which I think for me is kind of key, particularly when I come across this in therapeutic terms, is looking at the blocks and barriers to implementation. What is it that actually stops practitioners and trainers and coaches and therapists from getting out there and sharing their thoughts and their ideas? So we're going to do a piece around that. Dovetailing into that, we're going to do some of the HUNA and access consciousness belief change work, because that's some of you will know from my various teleseminars, or if you've attended the photo reading workshop, that's a really powerful way to just get right in there and change and transform things pretty much on the spot. So we'll do that. You will also know that it translates online and through celluloid and all sorts. And if you saw the blog that I wrote the other day for people who took part in the HUNA higher self-clearing, that wasn't even a video webinar. That was basically just me on the telephone, people listening sometimes online to a webinar where they click a link and they could just hear my voice. And the changes and transformations from that were profound, and all happened within 24 hours. And there were a couple of people who actually couldn't make it, as will be the case with this workshop, and they listened to the recording. So I put a blog together about that. I'll pull up the blog in a bit actually, and I'll put the link in so you can read people's feedback in their own words. But even just listening to the recording, people had some really profound experiences of that. So we'll be doing it in real time if you can make the date, or you'll get to hear the recording if you can't make it in real time. So that's kind of basically what we are covering. So yeah, so if you've got any questions, if you've got queries, put them in the thread, or drop me an email or send me a DM. But the link is there if you wanted to join. There's of course, as the way I normally run my events, and we'll talk about this on the workshop as well, but there is a launch price which is up for the next couple of days. Then we get into the early booking price, and then once those expire, it'll be the price of the workshop. I also want to address this one because it came up when I ran a live stream workshop last year, where what happened is I had a group of people physically in the room with me, my usual haunt, the jury's in. We also had people from around the world. So again, we had Australia, we had Canada, we had across Europe, we had United States, we had people who are based in the UK, and they were watching globally via live stream, which meant the camera was in the room and it was streaming, a bit like a very posh and expensive version of Facebook Live. And I had actually people saying, well, why? Number one, people were saying, why are we being charged for this? It's online. I'm at home. I'm like, good for you. And they also were kind of going, well, shouldn't it be a lot less? And I thought, let me just explain this to you. This is no word of a lie. This is the absolute hand on heart, God's honest truth. It was 5 times more expensive to run the live stream event than it was to have people sitting in the room, drinking my tea, drinking my coffee, and eating my Marks and Spencer's cakes and fruit. 5 times more expensive. And so don't get it twisted now when you think, oh, it's online, therefore it's like, no. And with this, it's not going to be quite the same endeavor, because obviously when there's a live stream, I needed to have the camera operator, I needed to hire in the 4K camera, I needed to hire in the kit that he uses, I then needed to pay him to go away edit it, get it uploaded. I then had to pay my web designer to build the site, the hosting site. There's a big endeavor, a big bit that sits underneath that. This one isn't quite so cumbersome. However, still need to pay for the platform, and I still need to pay for the hosting, because you'll have lifetime access to this material, which means anytime you want, you'll get the link, you'll click on it, you can go back and watch the training. So just to make it absolutely clear, the reason why you will still pay for this training is because even though it appears to sort of be free, because there's no venue, trust me when I tell you, that is not the case. And again, we'll talk about that sort of stuff on the workshop as well, because there are a lot of, that's why I call it Practitioner Insider Secrets, because there are a lot of things that even, I'd say as a delegate, you probably don't think about them at all. And as an event organizer, unless you've confronted it, it wouldn't even enter your head to even think about it. So those are the things that we're covering and talking about, so that nothing comes to fox you and trip you up. But I just want to put that one out there, having come up against it when we ran the live stream last year, and people taking a little bit of an issue with the fact that they were being asked to pay for the training or pay more than they thought for the training. And I will definitely say, and this is something I'm definitely going to look at next year as well, I'd say my trainings are very reasonably priced. So just hear that, save yourself the time and trouble of messaging me to kind of ask me why there's a charge, if it's because it's a video. We're all good. Cool. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, you know, let me know. If you do want to join me, that would be absolutely fantastic and amazing. And as I said, of course, if you can't make the first day, I'm doing it in 2 parts. And my plans for the future, because I've got loads of ideas, there's one I'll probably run on public speaking and presentation skills, because that's one of my favorite topics. For those of you who know a little bit about my background, you will know that I was very quiet and very shy and lacking in confidence and self-esteem right up until the age of 32, to the point I could barely speak to my own family, never mind, talk to an audience. So I'll probably do one around that. Thinking about doing the one about kind of the critical thinking and decision making, and also did one as a live workshop a couple of weeks ago, Unleash Your Creativity. I think that could be a really fun one to do. Could even possibly run a version of the HUNA training as well, that I'm running as a live workshop in October, but that one would again, I think, lend itself very nicely to this format. So there are loads that I have, up my sleeve, that I've run as workshops before, in terms of stand in front of a group and present, which I think could lend themselves beautifully. And what I'll probably do with those is just run them on one day, and we'll do them in 2 or probably 3 segments, 2 or 3, depending on the stamina of the group. And the reason we'll do it in segments is we'll have a break. So at various points, you'll go off and have your lunch, just like you would on a regular workshop, and then we'll click on a link and we'll go in for part 2. So plans for that are coming, but I want to run this one first. I'm going to do it in 2 parts, just so we, just want to sense check the energy, just want to sense check the vibe, get some feedback from the group in terms of, they might go, oh man, I totally could have just done the whole day today. Or they might go, actually, I'm really pleased to have a break. And of course, they'll get a bit of time to implement what we've been talking about, come back for part 2. And you've got some practical things that you've then gone away and said, right, I've done this, this worked, I've got questions about that. So it'll be nice in that respect. But yes, if you want to join me either live or access the recording, go to insidersecretsonline.eventbrite.com and sign up. And you can also watch the, I think the Money Breakthrough one was just over an hour, just so you get a sense of what to expect from the training. So thank you all for joining me. Look forward to working with those of you who want to join me for the first global online training, which is very cool, because it doesn't matter where you are in the world or what your time zone is, you can be there with us, which would be really cool and exciting. So yeah, I will catch you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.